much. Rick Remsnyder and I, we go back to what, 1980, 1981? Basketball, football. Pleasure having you introduced me. I want to tell you, I want to thank the committee for bringing me into the Hall of Fame. I'm overwhelmed tonight to look out and see my friends and the guests that are here and my relatives to celebrate my induction into the Kingston High School Athletic Hall of Fame. It's hard to believe for me, 49 years associated with the Kingston High School football program. This is a dream come true for me. Being a Pisces and a dreamer, I had two dreams when I was 10, 11 years old. Believe it or not, I wanted to be a three-letter sports star at Kingston High School. And I also wanted to play for the New York Yankees. At Kingston High School, I wanted to be a Maroon. We weren't the Tigers back there. I wanted to be a Kingston High School Maroon. While in grade school, I would have my mom and dad take me up to Dietz Memorial Stadium and watch the football team practice. And I can remember riding my bike over to the athletic field and just sitting there and watching the Kingston High School baseball team play games and practice. I wanted to be a Kingston High School Maroon. I wanted to be a star athlete. The start of my sophomore year at Kingston High School, guess what? I made the football team. I made the basketball team, and I made the baseball team. Wow, I had arrived. I was living my dream. But after my sophomore year, I started to realize my dream was not going to come true. Football coach Frank Monica told me one day, "You're too slow and too small to be the next Frank Gifford." Baseball coach Ron Cole said to me one day, "I like your hustle, I like your desire, you're good for this team, but you can't hit the curveball, and you can't get around on the fastball." My dream, was it gone? I love sports. I was crushed. But my dad said to me, "Well, maybe you can still be a Maroon, and maybe you can still play for the New York Yankees." "Dad, I can't hit. I'd never play for the Yankees." But at the end of my junior year of high school, I met the general manager of WKNY, Joe Schuler, and he offered me a job. He offered me the job of doing statistics for the Kingston High School football broadcast. I couldn't believe it. I said, wow, maybe I can still be involved with the Kingston High School football program, and maybe, who knows, maybe I can still be a Maroon. Well, that's where the journey began for me. Stats, man on the field. I was the color analyst. And in 1976, he's here tonight, Tom Crum, sitting in the back of the room. Tom told me he was leaving for greener pastures. He was going north. He later became the play-by-play announcer for the Albany Colony Yankees. He said, "You know what? You're now the play-by-play announcer for Kingston High School football." Wow, how great was this? Can you believe it? I'm the play-by-play announcer for Kingston High School football. Well, I was in the clouds, and I was also a little bit cocky. It was about my third game of doing play-by-play, and there was a Kingston High School defensive player. I can't remember his first name, but his last name was Du Bois. And during that first half, this kid Du Bois had a pretty good game, and I was really, really doing a job. Du Bois with a tackle. Du Bois, what a play, interception, touchdown. Du Bois, Du Bois. Du Bois is my MVP for the first half. I was really, really pouring it on. I was the play-by-play announcer of the Kingston High School football team. Well, at halftime, after I said Du Bois was my first half MVP, there was a knock on the broadcast door at Dietz Memorial Stadium. There was a guy standing out there with a radio. And he said, "Hey, Dan, I'm listening to the game on the radio." I said, "Hey, that's great." He said, "But I want to let you know, that guy's name's not Du Bois, it's Dubois." I said, "Say what?" He said, "Dubois." I said, "You got to be kidding me." Well, that was 49 years ago, and one thing I did learn was to make sure I get the right names doing Kingston High School football. I've not been 100% successful, but I've tried. And then, right after that, a fan on the street came up to me and he said, "Hey, I listened to you doing play-by-play." He said, "You know, I think there's a little bit too much chit-chat." He says, "Here's what I need from you. I need you to give me the score, give me the quarter, and let me know how much time is left. And if you do that every 3 or 4 minutes, I'll be a real happy camper." So I thought back, and he did say to me, "And oh, by the way, just paint the picture. Paint the picture." So I thought back to my days at Emerson College, and what did the professor say? It's not about you. It's about the players on the field and the players on the court. What you need to do is paint the picture. Paint the picture. I look around tonight and I see my broadcasting partners. Tom Crum, please stand up. Stu Spoljeric. Stu, please stand up. And my current broadcast partner, Jeff Delisio. Jeff. Dan Gorham was here, he had to leave early, and Marshall Miles, one of my other longtime partners. But these guys, they were the best. We formed a friendship, and we had fun, a lot of fun, as we traveled all over the Hudson Valley doing Kingston High School football. I look at the Kingston High School coaches that I dealt with, they were all great men and women, and they made, in my mind, the Kingston High School athletic program #1. I think about the coaches I worked with, Tony Bottolato, Dave Gettleman, who is now the general manager of the New York Giants, Tom Lockwood, Jeremy Collins, Jerry Corrado, the late Ed Mills, Quentin Johnson, the current football coach here. But there was one coach that I learned the most from. And Coach, I think I'm going to cry because I can't believe that you flew up here tonight for this dinner. Please stand up, Coach Rick Clausey. Rick Clausey was on the radio with me every Monday night during the football season. We took a look at the game Kingston High School just played. We took a look at the next game they were going to play. Rick gave me his offense, Rick gave me his defense, and a lot of times he gave me his game plan, which made me look like a pro on the radio. Coach, I can't believe you're here. You surprised me last night when you snuck up behind Jeff, gave me the big hug. And you've done so much for my career, and I'm just so happy that you were able to find the time and come here tonight. It means so much to me.
Just one thing. I think Joe got his emotion for me. Whenever I needed publicity for my team, or when I was the recreation director out in the town of Ulster, Eileen Pine did the same thing. She took over for me. When I had this semi-pro football teams, I would call Dan and say, "Hey Dan, can you get me on Monday night? I got something I got to promote." "Sure," he says, "I'll give you 5 minutes." 45 minutes later, we were still talking. And I appreciate everything you do, and you're well deserved to be here.
Thank you. Doing the games, for me, you know what it was really about? It was being in a community that was excited about their football team. It was a Friday night lights every game that I did. The friendships with the coaches and the players and the fans and the parents, I will cherish forever. There was great football games I did. In the 70s, 80s, 90s, we had great football teams. We did bowl games. We went, Coach Spoljeric, Mr. Spoljeric, remember the Carrier Dome? We went to the Carrier Dome. We did playoff games. But for 49 years, you know what I saw about the Kingston High School football team? Every football team at Kingston High School had character and they had pride. and they represented the Kingston High School athletic department, and all the coaches did a phenomenal job for 45 years since I've been here. You know, my other dream was play for the New York Yankees, and I have to tell you this story that, of course I couldn't hit, so you know I've never played with the New York Yankees. But about a year after starting the play-by-play, Joe Schuler, who was the general manager of WKNY, he handed me a piece of paper and there was a phone number on it. And the phone number, I said, "What's the phone number?" He said, "Just call it." I called the phone number, and the guy that answered was the head public relations director of the New York Yankees. For the next 5 or 6 years, I had the pleasure of being down at Yankee Stadium for a lot of their home stands, a lot of games on Saturday and Sunday. Got to meet a lot of the Yankee players. I was in the clubhouse, in the dugout. It was great just leaning against the batting cage and watching those great, great Yankee players play. My dream had come true. I thought I had died and gone to heaven. But there was one thing even better that happened to me. The Detroit Tigers were in to play the Yankees. And I went up to the non-working area for the press at Yankee Stadium. And I sat there before the game was supposed to start. And I heard a voice say, "Hey kid, you watching the game all by yourself today?" And I looked up and I couldn't believe it. There he stood, George M. Steinbrenner, the Yankee owner, the boss. I didn't know what to say. I said, yes, no, yes, no. And I said, "No, Mr. Steinbrenner, I'm by myself." He said, "Kid, come watch the game with me." So for 9 innings, I sat next to George Steinbrenner, the Yankee owner, the boss, and watched him watch his New York Yankee team. After this dinner's over with, if you want to ask me how many times George Steinbrenner called Billy Martin down in the dugout, I would like to share this honor tonight with my wife, Ellen, my best friend. She has supported me for all these years. We've given up a lot of Friday nights, we've given up a lot of Saturdays, but we've been together, we've had a lot of fun, and she has been my biggest supporter, and it's always great because she's been positive, and there's also been some negatives during the broadcast. I want to thank my son Brian for being here. My sister, who just got out of the hospital yesterday, I didn't think she was going to make it, but sis, I'm so happy you made it today. My brother Tom, who flew in from Colorado, thank you, brother, for being here. My sister-in-law Pam and her husband Jim, who came over from Connecticut tonight, I'm so happy you're here. I'm in the Hall of Fame, and I want to just look at 2 people right now. Les Lombardi, who's in the Basketball Hall of Fame, and George Nisvari, who is in the Junior College Hall of Fame. I'm looking at you guys now. There's another guy I want to stand up, and that is the General Manager of WKNY, Mr. Warren Lawrence. Warren, stay up, please. Warren has kept WKNY alive until last November when we were purchased by the Novo Foundation. But over the years, doing Kingston High School football, you needed sponsors. And Warren was always pounding the pavement to get sponsors to do Kingston High School football to keep my dream alive. Thank you, Warren. Every good broadcast needs a good engineer. Adam Alberts, thank you, sir. I want to thank Jimmy Buff, who is the executive director of Radio Kingston right now, to Peter Buffett and the Novo Foundation for buying WKNY and giving us the best equipment money can buy. Thank you. I wish my parents were here. My mom and dad, along with my wife, were my biggest supporters. Mom would call me right up until the day she passed every Monday, and she would say, "You've got to do sport talk tonight, don't forget." And my dad, he was a religious guy, and he told me to just keep on dreaming. And now and then he said, "You have to pray a little bit too when you're dreaming." Thanks, Dad. I admired a coach for a long time. The coach was Coach Lou Holtz. Lou Holtz had hopes and dreams. Lou was born in a one-room schoolhouse in West Virginia. But Lou Holtz wanted to be a football coach. Lou Holtz took the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame from the bottom to the top. Lou Holtz took Notre Dame to 9 straight bowl games. Luke Holtz says, you never can stop dreaming. You've always got to dream. You know, there's only 7 colors in the rainbow. Look what Michelangelo did with 7 colors. There's only 7 musical notes. Look what Beethoven did with 7 musical notes. There's only 10 core numbers. Look what Bernie Madoff did with 10 core numbers. It doesn't have to be complicated. You need something to do, something to love, something to believe in, and something to hope for. For 49 years, I've had hopes and I've had dreams. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for this great honor tonight, because tonight I'm officially a Kingston High School Maroon.